All right, hello. Welcome back. Good evening. How long has it been? Has it already been a week? I hope not. I was very sick on Monday. Sunday evening is when I really started to, not really, but like started to get a little bit, a bit of a throat ache. And then you can probably still tell from my voice, I'm not fully recovered yet, but I had a minor commitment to take care of later, in the day today in the evening, so had to man up and go take care of that. So I decided also I was going to actually go live yesterday. And then my Wi-Fi cut out exactly at 9 p.m. And like this happened as soon as I clicked start streaming, and then my Wi-Fi just cut out and it didn't come back for the rest of the night. So I was like, okay, well, I had everything prepared. I have all these tabs open and it's all ready to go. The thumbnails ready, titles all set. Everything's perfect, and then I click go live and it's just gone. Like no consideration for all my efforts at all. And I was probably gonna be a bad stream anyway. I was still coughing, sneezing. I still have a bit of it. My throat's still a little bit raspy. I've drank an excessive amount of tea, but it's not helping. um at least I don't have a runny nose anymore, or a headache, or a whole body ache. So I'm recovering. I'm doing a little better. Just, what is it? A cold, a flu? What would you call it? Climate change. It's been getting colder already. I don't even know how people would want to. I mean, people will still think it's very hot. We're still in summer, technically. But I feel like, no, it's too cold. Way too cold for my tasting. Still holding on to my mic, by the way. Didn't get my mic stand fixed at all. I've just been rotting away in my bedroom due to this disease. So, I mean, it's been such an uneventful week either way, so that's why I'm not too concerned about not covering a lot of topics. Nonetheless, there is some stuff we do have to talk about from the accumulation of these past couple of days. So let's get into those right here. Great, well, welcome back. Bitcoin, 112,500. What is going on? Why did we drop so much? We're in anticipation for what's going to happen tomorrow, where Too Late is going to be speaking at Jackson Hole. One of those speeches that he gives probably once or twice a year. And usually they're not that great, historically speaking. What happened last year when we had this same Jackson Hole speech around the same time? It was like during September, I think. Markets crashed, sold off significantly September, early on. So I don't know. Think people are thinking history will repeat itself. I doubt it. But yeah, it's an anticipation for what's going on there. Whether or not we will be getting a rate cut for September. Will we once again miss out on it? What happened last week? Last time I left you guys off with this good old stream, we were at a what was it, 99% chance that we were getting a rate cut for September. What have we dropped to? We've definitely been dropping, and that has been strengthening the US dollar. That's the main leading narrative as to why we're dropping. And also, like, if you check ETF outflows, they're pretty significant as well from institutional investors. They have started to sell off to kind of manipulate, suppress the price. Wow, 73% chance we're getting a rate cut. That's dropped significantly. So, of course, it's starting to concern a bit of people, right? Like, okay, are we getting our September rate cut or not? It looked like we were going to get 3 rate cuts this year. And then now it's back down to maybe 2. What are the aggregated probabilities? 1 and 2. Second one in December. Yeah, so it's not looking pretty. I mean, it's still fine. 2 rate cuts. That's why we're still above 100K, I feel, right? But I feel like that's what's to be expected either way. This is something that the Fed projected since way before. 2 rate cuts for this year, and that has maintained itself throughout the duration of the year. Man, this is all starting to hit me. We're about to go to September 2025 already. I feel like it was just a moment ago we were at the beginning of the year. Time flew, man. It's crazy, but we made a lot of money along the way, and I've been DCAing into Bitcoin, as you can tell by these trading markings that are giving away my positions. Look at these perfect bottom timings, right? I'm stupid to not have sold with the tiniest amount of profit. Maybe I am. But these are perfect entries, man. One entry over here, timed to the bottom, started rising right after. Okay, I decided we're going to crash, and I'm going to time the next bottom right around here. And exactly that happened. We entered right over here, a second entry on Bitcoin. About the same position size as the first one. We kept on dropping over here. I timed the next bottom perfectly again. We started rising. What do you think is going to happen now? Well, this is the one I gave it the most that I could. And now we're slowly starting to rise. Nonetheless, though, we are in a downtrend. And we are maintaining that. Yeah, my throat is going to kill me today. I don't know why I decided to stream. I'm still not fully recovered from my sickness, but it's fine. I actually averaged out this price right over here between this support level and this fib level, right in the middle there, and it hit that exact point. That's the power of averages. It's dropped my average price now down to 113,840. And I was making some good money when this was positive. Because my average price from there was 114,000, I think. No, it wasn't. It was something else. I don't remember. I don't even think actually this one got into positive. But I've been DCing into other positions as well. Some new purchases on other altcoins. I have not been sharing these on my private Discord. It's not really private, but whatever. And yeah, I haven't even been posting them. So I probably will share them after the stream if I can take some good screenshots. Just so we can see where we are in the next couple of weeks. I still think we are in a bull run. It's not over yet. There's still a lot of good fundamentals. This is literally all a nothing burger. Last week, the whole situation was what's going to happen with Russia, Ukraine. We were in these talks about, oh, Russia's going to visit, well, President Putin will be visiting President Trump. They'll be discussing in Alaska. What's going to happen next? Will anything come out of it? Short answer is no, nothing came out of it. There's no official ceasefire, no official deal made. But progress is being made. So I guess that's somewhat okay. Now it's all up to Zelensky and Putin to sort things out. I have a lot of news articles on it, which we will be discussing. And I don't know, this stream that I made here, it was very quickly put together, so I might miss out on a couple stuff. It's fine. If I go live tomorrow, I'll explain the rest of it tomorrow because it's probably going to be... We have one event coming tomorrow. That's the Jackson Hole event that we'll definitely be covering, and then I'll cover the rest of the stuff that I didn't get to cover on this stream just by looking back and seeing, okay, what did I miss? What did I forget to talk about? Oh, this? Okay, I'll include it in tomorrow's stream. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. Losing about $1,000 on here, no big deal. I put in a lot of money on this one. How do I see amount of money? 25K? Yeah, I have 25K, no problem. That's my whole annual salary, if you care. Entered another position on Stellar. I have another order ready, a little bit lower. That should add another 500 or 1,000, I think. Solana, I'm going public with all my positions. Hopefully this gets me some views or something. I need to start monetizing the channel if I'm going to get serious about this stuff. But you see how serious I am with not being on time, on schedule, right? Well, hey, give me a break. I was sick. Plus we get 2 views per stream, so it's fine. Sui, I also entered 1,000 in total. I think there was 2 positions of 500 each. I studied a bit on Aptos, figured out, you know what? Sui, Aptos, very similar, very good. Aptos arguably better than Sui. I entered Aptos, and I also figured we're at record lows for Aptos, and it's got significant up potential. I'll DCA a little bit into Aptos, and I did. And that's still in the green, so great. Solana was much higher. It was like making me 200 or 300 at one point. It's down to just positive 50, which, whatever. I'm not going to sell there. I'm probably going to sell at above 200. Maybe even higher than this 204 that I put over here, because, come on. We've seen Solana much higher than that. We've seen Solana almost hit 300. Maybe I'll put a target there. But I don't know. Depends on how much money I'm putting in. If I'm just putting in 1,500, whatever. I'll just take the tiniest profit that I can. XRP, I hate XRP, but I decided to enter anyway. I saw an ad, not me personally, but I saw a picture of an ad on the streets of, like on a billboard, like the display screen billboards. It showed XRP, and half of it was cut off of a MasterCard, like a credit card, with XRP on top of it and the MasterCard logo beneath it, and it said coming soon. Maybe MasterCard XRP partnership soon. I don't know, people clearly seem to not care at all, so I'm taking advantage of that. Once this whole week blows over, we'll be up in the green again for the next upcoming weeks, is what I'm philosophizing. Now, 112,000 for Bitcoin. I'm going to start getting into technical levels here. Definitely this was like the actual area I wanted to start entering, but I got a bit impatient, I'll be honest with you guys. I've been sitting inside all day, just like, what do I do? What do we do with all this money? And I'm like, forget it. We're going in on Bitcoin. I'm dying. Yeah, so I decided to go in a lot on Bitcoin. Every entry toward the bottom, I've been analyzing them thoroughly. We're still in a downtrend though, but that's the power of DCA, and why I decided to switch over to perpetual futures as well. Just so that not all these positions are like isolated into separate rows on the list. I'd rather have them all combined and give me an average price, and it's probably better if it isn't an average price. 3x leverage, first of all, is what I'm using. Super safe. Liquidate below 80k. 76k. Like, we're never hitting that. Hate to break it to you, bears. And, like, the more I DCA onto this, the higher we go. This is going to be a much stronger average price position. And, man, when we hit our all-time highs again, which, by the way, we are not too far off of, it's going to be great. Am I holding my mic? Yeah, I am holding my mic correctly. Okay. So that's my philosophy with Bitcoin. I feel like a turnaround is imminent, and 112,000 absolutely solid support line for multiple reasons. Switching over to a daily chart over here. Resistance that we hit our all-time high on the 23rd of May. We broke out of that resistance, reaching whatever all-time high we hit at 123,000. And then we came back down, use it as a great support right over here. We are on it once again. What are you afraid about? In my opinion, this is a good idea. Even if it's not a full entry that you plan to do, it's a good idea for a bounce. From there, if worst case scenario happens, we continue dropping, which I don't think we will. It's been a lot of consecutive red days for this whole week. 107k is your next support. If you really, really need to, you know, if you really want to buy more, I would say. But yeah, those are my support levels for it. Okay, cool. Moving on. Ethereum, is there really much to say? We had a good run for it. Started coming back down. Stopped at 4,076 approximately. 0.5 of Fibonacci retracement. Came back up a little bit. Now we're hovering around the first support level. 4,234 is the current price, down 1.83%. Solana's at 180. These are my two peasant entries on Solana. Also perfectly timed, almost. That's why it's been paying me pretty decently for now. We hit a high of 189 over here. Almost 190. Didn't decide to take any profits yet. I'm holding on till 200 plus. So we'll see if that can hit. This is the uptrend that we currently got going for it. Although we technically are flipped to a negative super trend. So this is the downtrend we should be paying attention to. Breaking out of, I don't know, maybe we consolidate for a while longer. But breaking out of 185 so we can hit that 189 once again. This is what's going to be important. I do have another trigger order ready over here. But I have it exactly on that Fibonacci line. I don't know what other level to combine it with. So that's why I'm a bit skeptical with it. But nonetheless, it's there at 167.34. Yeah, so that's what I got going on for Solana. I also mentioned I entered an XRP. Practically where we are right over here. Thanks to this little dip over here. $2.85 is my entry price. We're at $2.84 right now. I'm losing $3. It is what it is, down 3%. We are also still in a downtrend for XRP. Uptrend no longer exists unless we draw like a whole new one, but for much in a bigger scale, right? This one's gone for now. In terms of support, we're on one right now. If we break that, I don't know what the support 2 level's really using as reference. Maybe 280 as a psychological level, and then the 272 lowest point we hit on August 2nd. Those are the levels to watch out for. A lot of red candles, though, for the past couple days for most of these coins. Chainlink, though, has been actually doing really good compared to the rest. We're still making higher and highs and higher lows, so uptrend is maintained really well for Chainlink. Currently at 24 on that support currently, and man, we're gonna still go higher, it seems like. I'm deleting this fib retracement for now because I don't think we will be retracing, at least not for the time being. Chainlink's been super strong. I already took my profits, probably a bit too early, but I actually took more profits on my standard futures account. How much did I make there? If I can remember, that would be great. I don't know, it was probably 600, I think. Yeah. Sui, what did we do here? Also 2 entries. One at, it tells me here, right? Average price 355. Kind of choppy at that level, but then we started dropping once again. Re-entered over here at, where did I buy this? 346. We're currently at 340. I have one last order down at 328 if Sui is volatile enough to drop down there and bounce right back up. Likely bounce in this zone. Couple reasons why. Solid support and oversold levels likely to be hit with a drop like this, right? That's what tends to happen. So that's what I got going on for Sui. Currently down $84, but we've been up before. So not all is lost. We're fine. And liquidation price is very far. I'm using 3x leverage on most of these. And I still have enough cash on hand just in case I do need to reinforce any positions, although I really doubt it. It's all likely to go up further, in my opinion, next couple of weeks. Cardano has been, I've been trying to find a correct downtrend for it, but it's still there. I am waiting with an order at 82.04, averaging out 3 levels actually. Super trend, support 1 from pivots, and fib retracement 0.618. That price level is at 81.20. So I have it just a little bit above here just in case we don't fully drop to that level. I didn't want to put my trigger order right on that Fibonacci because sometimes it misses it by like a penny, or not even a penny, because this is already in pennies. Like not, yeah, like the millicents, whatever you want to call it, right? The dots after the 4 decimal points, whatever. So that's why I give it a bit of leeway over here. All right, and I don't have anything open currently for Cardano, so that's where I'm waiting for it to drop. 82. I know it still seems like a relatively high point that I'm entering, but it's been holding pretty strong. Although its time will probably be coming soon. Given Bitcoin's weakness, it's dropped to 112,000. That's new. So yeah, altcoins will likely follow that movement just for the remainder of this week is what I feel like. But afterwards, we should be recovering and seeing a lot of green lights. Would be pretty cool. Litecoin has dropped from its high of 134, almost hitting that 140. I really wanted it to hit 140, but it's fine. We've come back down. We're at 115 currently. We hit a low point of 112 approximately. Downtrend is now here, and the good news is, though, we have broken like our all-time high downtrend. So it's a healthy correction. That's what we must tell ourselves. I can't draw a good downtrend at the moment, but it's going to look something like that. Resistance that we'll get for it is 123, so watch out for that. In terms of support, I mean, we could be on one right now, but you're looking at 106, the next level. I'm sure if I draw Fibonacci levels somewhere, It'll give me around these levels. Don't want to right now because I only have one hand. Stellar, I decided to enter after doing some more research on the project. I decided, you know what? It's really good. And they got really low fees. And they're surprisingly high on the market cap list. Now, it can still go much higher. I'm dying, man. It can still go much higher, in my opinion. So that's why I decided to enter. Perfect entry, by the way. It's starting to come back down a little bit more, though. I have another order ready over here. Might regret it, but we'll see how it goes. It's at 38 cents. My order. Current price is 39 cents. My first entry was at 40 cents. I know, big difference, right? Man, I remember this being at 20 cents and me wanting to die around over here. I suffered. I've held on to Stellar before, buying at these high prices, 40, 50 cents. I literally have those positions probably still open to this day. I'm on USDC. I don't think I have enough chart data. That's why. Let me go to USDT. XLM, USDT. There we are. Yeah, I bought like 50 cents and then 40 cents. And then I held, this was back in December, January. I held throughout all this crash, even suffering a low of 20 cents, 19 cents. I still held. We skyrocket back up. I took some, I did make more entries around down over here. Rose up to all the way over here. Timed to the top practically perfectly, I think. Made 7K. We started dropping once again. I'm like, you know what? I like that. I'm going to do it again. But it might be like that meme where it just, you know, crypto will give you a lot, but then you go all in and then it just takes it all from you. That's the gambler mindset, but it's fine. So yeah, that's what we got going on for that. And I guess the other new kid on the block is this Aptos coin that I've decided to add to my portfolio. Entered at 430. We're at 440 right now. It's pretty decent. I have another order ready at 416 just in case we do continue dropping. Downtrend is there. Why did I decide to enter into Aptos? I'll show you a USDT chart so we can get more history. I don't even know if we'll get enough history here. Oh, we do. Yep. When this first launched, sure, it launched around $7, whatever. Crashed to $3. Skyrockets to $20 in 2023. Do you guys know what was happening in 2023 January? The whole crypto market was crashing. Why was Aptos go up? Anyway, we start crashing once again, hit the $4 mark. Okay, cool. We skyrocket once again in 2024 March when Bitcoin hits its first all-time high at 74,000. Everything went up as well, the altcoins. Aptos, one of them, hitting $19, almost the $20 high that it hit before. Pretty cool. Crash all the way back down to $4. Worst day, August 5, recession fear. Trump win. We go back up to $15. And I'm showing you this on the weekly chart. Then we start crashing once again. And here we are today. Have we ever gone lower than this point? Like really? Lower than 306? What's my liquidation price ever? 289. It's less than the $3 mark. If Aptos actually goes below $3, you can have my money. Like, I'll accept the loss. It makes sense. Okay, sure. You got me. You fooled me. I didn't understand that, but like, I don't think that's ever going to happen. From here, the only logical thing that I think is going to happen is that once again, and much even higher than this, because of alt season is like still starting to kick off. We saw like the signs of it starting, right? We're seeing retail interest slowly creep back in. We're seeing, you know, meme coins slowly starting to come back as well. A lot of institutional investors getting interested. Sure, it might not seem like that this week, but trust me, it's there. And we're also seeing Bitcoin dominance drop. Another indicator as to why alt season coming soon. And a lot of analysts are expecting a top within the next couple of weeks, leading us into like October, November. I say couple, it's more than that. October, November, or September, October. I'd go for maximum October. I wouldn't go further than that for a cycle top. So we still got juice in it. They're saying like after this cycle tops out, we're going to get a bit of a crash because there's still, you know, all this conflict stuff and the fact that Powell isn't probably going to cut rates as much as we want to. I forget what other reasons there are. Like Israel-Iran war still kind of there, I guess. Maybe that could surge once again. So I've also started investing in oil. Oil, very cheap prices right now, by the way. What else we got? And then, okay, what happens afterward? Like, maybe crypto market gets boring at that point. Holiday season. Usually there's also a sell-off. Tax season. We want to cancel out the gains that we've made by purposefully selling at a loss so that we don't have to pay those capital gains to the government and then rebuy back at those low prices. That's usually the mindset that people have during the end of the year. After that, though, we're expecting another rise around Q2 2026. Or would it be Q3? Q2, I think. Jerome Powell will resign. Well, not resign, but his term will end. Or maybe if he resigns sooner, God bless, we'll go much higher. Probably. But we will be getting more rates cut if Trump appoints somebody that's more pro crypto or pro, I don't know, more favorable to Trump's policies, more likely to do what Trump says, I guess. Although that's not technically what the Fed is supposed to do. They're not supposed to do what the president does. They're supposed to look at the economic data and make decisions based off of that, which arguably Jerome Powell has been doing, but people are saying he's too political about it because, you know, he keeps giving the excuse of, oh, we don't know if tariffs will cause inflation. Well, we have some evidence of that, but come on, just make a decision already, right? You're still like far behind compared to a lot of other countries. Trump argues you're costing the country billions of dollars. He's been loading up on treasuries as well, by the way. We'll talk more about Trump and what he's been buying later on. And then, of course, speaking of Trump, midterms will happen by the end of 2026 in the autumn. And he's going to want markets to be soaring by that time so he could be like, look at the Trump effect. Look at how much I've accomplished. I've done so much for this country. You guys better vote Republican again. That kind of deal. So we'll talk about the news right here. This is what's been going on. I know you probably heard about all this, but too bad I have to cover it because it's my job. It's not really my job. No one pays me. Trump says that he had a great and successful day in Alaska. This happened Friday or Saturday. It was Friday. Meeting with President Vladimir Putin of Russia went very well, as did a late-night phone call with President Zelensky of Ukraine and various European leaders, including the highly respected Secretary General of NATO. It was determined by all that the best way to end the horrific war between Russia and Ukraine is to go directly to a peace agreement, which would end the war, and not a mere ceasefire agreement, which oftentimes do not hold up. President Zelensky will be coming to DC, the Oval Office, on Monday afternoon. If all works out, we will then schedule a meeting with President Putin. Potentially millions of people's lives will be saved. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So this was not originally planned, but after he spoke with Putin, Trump calls Zelensky and they agree to meet on Monday. And he also invites all of these NATO and European leaders. And this is as a part of what Trump has been claiming that he's done. He's stopped 6 wars in 6 months. More reasons why you should vote for Trump on the next midterm, right? That's kind of his mentality. He also wants, like I said, markets to be soaring by then, so he needs those interest rates to get cut. He will appoint somebody that is more in favor of cutting rates after Powell's term ends. A lot of power on this guy's hands. Also, Trump commented on China in the midst of this, saying that because of what happened with the Trump and Putin meeting, which was a great photo shoot, by the way, I don't think I have to think of possible increases in tariffs on China. I hope that's not an actual quote. That does not make sense. I don't think I have to think of possible increases in tariffs on China. Okay, sure. We don't have to worry about increasing tariffs on China because what is he referencing? The tariffs that he's been putting on India because of India's economic partnership with Russia. India buys a lot of Russian oil. We want to hurt Russia's economy, so we indirectly attack Russia by attacking the people who buy from Russia so that they would, to disincentivize them from buying Russian oil, so that to pressure Putin to stop the war. Didn't really work out. India just didn't care, and so they decided to continue even after Trump even raised those tariffs. Now, it looked like Trump was keeping an eye on China and maybe getting them involved, which would have been a risky thing as well, because getting, China involved in the midst of all this as well, after they're already, the bad blood between them with this whole tariff situation, them putting 100+% tariffs on each other, would not have been a good look, especially in the middle of trade talks, which have been delayed another 90 days, a couple days ago. So that's no longer going to be an issue. That's a good thing. Well, Canada does have to worry about China now, I guess. China seeks permanent canola trade with Australia. This happens after they put another tariff on Canadian canola. Great stuff, Canada. I know we're getting tariffs not just from the United States, but also from China. This is also part of now that we're on the topic of Canada, Canadian news here. Pierre Poilievre won his seat back into the parliament. For context, we had our elections earlier this year, and the way it works is like these little sections in each city or province, I guess, depending on how populated it is. You have one representative for that area, that district, that riding is what we call it. And this guy right here, Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, who did not win the election, lost to the Liberals, and he also lost his parliamentary seat because he lost in his own riding, in his own district, his own little area. So that means that if he does not have a seat in the parliament, he cannot be the leader of the Conservatives, nor think about, you'd have to wait until the next election to kind of be relevant again. So what ended up happening is one guy from Alberta, another member of parliament from the Conservative Party, gave up his seat, and they called a by-election in that area so that Pierre could run again in that place in Crowfoot. Yeah. Battle River Crowfoot, Alberta is what that place is called. Which was a very likely place for a Conservative to win, given that Alberta is a very conservative province. It's all blue. Blue is the color for Conservative Party. So that by-election just happened. He won his seat back, so now he's back. He has a seat in the parliament again. He's now leading the Conservative Party once again. And this is just Mark Carney, current Prime Minister of the Liberal Party in Canada. Congratulating him for that. So there you go. This guy, though, he's supposed to be a conservative, but man, these two seem to be really good friends, that Mark Carney decides to hang out with Doug Ford in Ottawa instead of going to that meeting with all the NATO leaders and the Ukrainian president, with Donald Trump in DC. Interesting stuff. All right, cool. Housing crisis, capital flight, record unemployment, by the way. Tariffs, nothing. We're just, rotting away. Here's a picture of all the major world leaders that went to the White House to discuss. And here's Mark Carney, just in spirit. It's pretty funny. Von der Leyen was there. Keir Starmer from UK. Don't know who this guy. I think he's probably Finland. One of these guys is Finland. One of these guys is the NATO secretary. One of these guys is some other irrelevant European country. Then you got Zelensky, Trump, Macron, and Giorgia Meloni. Oh, this is German Chancellor Schors, whatever his name is. Here are all the names. Okay. Thank you, Trump. He saved us all. He said he had a really good meeting with Zelensky, Macron, Alexander Stubb of Finland, that's the guy. Giorgia Meloni of Italy, Keir Starmer, UK, Chancellor of Germany, Friedrich Merz, President, did I get that name completely wrong? European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, in the White House, which ended in a further meeting in the Oval Office. There was a live press conference for it. They answered a bunch of questions. It was just between Trump and Zelensky. It was very funny because remember last time Zelensky didn't show up with a suit, and you know the reporters were giving him hate for that, I guess. And then you also had that whole meme of Trump and Vance just talking over Zelensky, saying, "Oh, you're being ungrateful. You're gambling with World War III. Have you said thank you once?" That kind of stuff. Well, guess how Zelensky started it off. He comes in wearing a full black suit. Okay, cool. Step one complete. And then he starts off by saying, "Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the United States for this, for giving us all this, and thank you for your continued efforts. Thank you, thank you." He said thank you like 50 times. So, hey, I guess he learned his lesson from last time. We didn't want that clown show once again. So that's the good stuff there. What else? They discussed security guarantees for Ukraine, which guarantees would be provided by the various European countries with a coordination with the United States of America. Everyone is very happy about the possibility of peace for Russia-Ukraine. At the conclusion of the meetings, I called President Putin and began the arrangements for a meeting at a location to be determined between President Putin and President Zelensky. After that meeting takes place, we will have a trilat, which would be the two presidents plus Trump. Again, this was a very good early step for a war that has been going on for almost 4 years. J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio and Steve Witkoff are coordinating with Russia-Ukraine. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Even Zelensky agrees, yeah, the meeting went great with Trump and all them. So what's next is these guys have to meet up. Putin is saying, "Hey, come to Moscow." That's obviously not going to happen. They're gonna kidnap the poor guy, Zelensky. So it's still to be determined. They haven't decided yet where they're going to meet up. Ukraine also offered a $100 billion weapons deal to Trump to win security guarantees, which is something that Russia is open to. For the security guarantees, they would agree to accept that, is what they said. But they do want a reliable security guarantee. Can't work without Russia, and without involving China, is what they say, as like a guarantor, a mediator, which that was frowned upon by the Ukrainian government. Zelensky pushed back against Russia's idea to add China as a security guarantor in the event of a ceasefire, saying that we don't need guarantors who don't help Ukraine and who didn't help Ukraine at the moment when we really needed it. We need security guarantees only from those countries that are ready to help us, obviously referring to NATO and the United States. Of course, China is more likely to side with Russia in the event of a full-scale war, right? So that's why there's a bit of that lack of trust from Ukraine for that. So they're still in talks about what's been going on. Those are your updates for Russia, Ukraine. Oh, by the way, Ukraine was getting bombed by Russia during Zelensky's visit to DC. That's pretty funny. I mean, it's not funny. People are dying, but the fact that this is still going on while peace talks are in progress, it's ironic. What else happened yesterday? Yeah, yesterday we had our Fed minutes that was happening on Wednesday, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week, but I'm pretty sure I did. Yes, it's including yesterday. No, it's not including yesterday. Why are you not including yesterday? Fine, give me this week then, if you're gonna be like that. FOMC minutes happened at 2 p.m. yesterday. It's a private meeting for the feds, and apparently it shows most members see inflation risks outweighing job risks. They supported holding rates steady, and without weak payroll data, a September rate cut might not even be considered. This is what's making markets a little bit more fearful once again. So that's obviously not good. But I still think we're getting a rate cut. Like it's inevitable. Like we were at 99% like just last week. I know things change. We're probably not going to get 3 rate cuts. I do think that is a bit excessive, but 2 rate cuts, I think the world will be happy. Although, arguably, these rate cuts should have come sooner, probably. We were expecting 4 rate cuts at one point earlier this year. Anyway. So, in anticipation of all this, of course, we're scared of this man. What will Jerome Powell speak about on Friday, August 22nd at 10 a.m. on the Economic Outlook and Framework Review at Jackson Hole? We'll see. We'll discuss that tomorrow, of course, when it comes. Perfect. So, that's mainly what's been going on this week. Talk a bit about crypto news and stuff. What has been going on with our cryptocurrencies? Bitwise and CoinShares XRP ETF and Grayscale and Canary's XRP ETF are getting their ETF decisions delayed now for October. I remember covering this one very clearly, saying it was getting delayed until August 20th or like by the 20s of August. And the time is here now. They're getting delayed once again. Like I said, we're probably still waiting for that blueprint to get all of these approved much faster, which would be great. We also have Trump Media's Truth Social and other crypto ETFs all of them are being delayed until October. That's why I wouldn't rule out like September, October maximum. That is when, hopefully, if the timing is good, these ETFs would get approved and we can start rising once again. I'm really dying. My throat can't take it anymore. Too much talking. So, what else we got? This is pretty bullish. The amount of Ethereum on centralized exchanges dropping to its lowest level in 9 years. We got Michael Saylor buying more Bitcoin. We posted this on the weekend, and I saved that post, but I didn't actually save how much he actually purchased. It would have been this. Purchased 430 Bitcoins. Shockingly low amount, actually. 51 million. That's nothing for him. At an average price of 119,000. He's still buying. Even at the tops for Bitcoin, he's always buying. I still think we could hit all-time highs, of course, like I said, and shoot right above it. $6 billion worth of shorts will be liquidated when we hit 124,000. And once again, we're back at it. Hedge funds are shorting Ethereum again. And we're at another record high, even higher than before. I've shared this chart a couple times where it's like how many shorts are on Ethereum. We were at record highs like multiple times. I probably covered it over here, over here, over here, over here. And we're back at it again. People don't learn. Even at Ethereum at $4,000, people are still shorting it. But that's fine, because it causes the short squeeze effect, and we can go much higher from there. Obviously not great that they're shorting the asset currently, but it is what it is. They'll have to rebuy eventually. Trump buying also 1,911 Ethereums, $8.6 million. Also bought 10 million of wrapped Bitcoin. It's good stuff. Trump also talking about staking into Intel. I'm not sure if I covered this part already. I'm pretty sure I covered like the fact that Trump was saying, oh, Intel CEO is doing a very bad job and he should resign. And then a couple days later, it's like, oh, Intel CEO is such a good guy. His story is incredible. You guys should, go what would it be? Go research him, look him up. I don't know. And Intel started rising from that. And now the fact that Intel will receive some money from the government, because it's like, that's what people are thinking, right? Intel has to do with chips and all that stuff, and sure, they have been lagging very far behind. They're at such a low point that we haven't seen them in years. The government's got to do something to save Intel, and it seems like now they're starting to do so. And we have been recovering with Intel, I would say. Yeah, good spike up. Hit this low point over here. Did I buy Intel? I don't think I did. No, I was too late to the party, I remember. It hurt me, but it's fine. I'm not in it right now anymore. I'm dying. Wow. Okay. What else we got? S&P 500 and Dow Jones are in talks to launch tokenized Indices. Why do you say indexes? That's cool. We love tokenized stuff, 24/7 trading, on-chain, blockchain, you know, it's all good stuff. Binance hit an all-time high in the middle of everybody crashing, by the way, just out of nowhere, out of nowhere. It's so funny. I want to check Binance's price. I don't think we've hit it once again. This happened a couple days ago, right? Yeah, look, that is indeed all-time high where we are right now. And if I go to like a monthly chart, yeah. We hit it at 880. It was the all-time high. And we're at 843 right now. So kind of coming back down, you know, taking into consideration that, yes, Bitcoin is crashing. Why is Binance going up? Binance just doing its own thing, really. Also got some hyperliquid news generating about $1.13 billion in annualized revenue with a core team of 11 people, which makes $102 million per employee, which that's practically the best salary anyone could ever get. Interesting stuff, man. DeFi or decentralized exchanges, it's looking really good. I remember I covered this guy, Bo Hines, who resigned from the White House, the Crypto Council. He's now working for Tether as a strategic advisor for digital assets. I'm sure that's a good position for him, so I'm happy for Bo Hines. Sui available now to trade on Robinhood. We also have Japan could be approving yen-pegged stablecoins for the first time as early as this fall. That's really good stuff. There's also more on China, likely loosening their policies on crypto once again, which has been banned for a long time. I don't have the article pulled up. Like I said, I rushed this one. I tried pulling up as much as I can, but clearly not everything got pulled up. I didn't get to cover everything I wanted, but I'm out of time and I'm out of vocal cords, so I must end my stream here. I'm very sorry, but I'll continue tomorrow, same time, and I'll cover the rest of the stuff. We'll cover the Jackson Hole event. I know there's this whole thing that's currently going on. I'll just talk about this briefly since it's like right up in my face. Yeezy coin, it came out. Kanye West's coin. Look at that beautiful rug pull. Hope you enjoyed that. What did they say about it? It was something. Let me pull it up. I commented on it. It was pretty funny. Here, Yeezy. They said this is so funny. Yeezy is more than a coin. It's an ecosystem built for culture, powered by technology, and designed to serve the future of global payments. Who do you think you are? Are you XRP or what are you doing? It's pretty funny. But apparently, like, the little bit that I've researched on it, he's trending right over here, by the way. Probably risky for me to click on this since, you know, he's known for posting a lot of, you know, the good old stuff. There was like this talk about that Libra, you know, the Argentinian rug pull that happened. The team behind that were involved in the creation of this, and also there's like a massive amount of holding from insiders, and you know, the sniping trades is back thing. A lot of stuff on that. I think I'll go more in depth on this as well tomorrow if I do run out of stuff to talk about, which would be likely. There's still stuff that I do need to cover, but I'll fill most of it, not most of it, but some of it in with this story as well with Yeezy. But this is just a bit of a prelude as to what has been going on. So yeah, great. That'll be all for today. A lot of ETF outflows, man. This is the reason why we're crashing, and arguably the reason why people are opposed to, you know, ETFs and things like that, but it's fine. This is the opportunity that we get for entering the dips. Look at that. I was losing 1,000 beginning of the stream. I'm losing 700 now. Just like that. Literally, how long did I take? 50 minutes to talk. We made $300. You know, you could use that mentality, right? That fast is how fast we can go back up, man. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is for real this time, and I'm doing it live for you guys. So, famous last words. Watch me fail. All right. Cool. Yeah, I'll end the stream here. I'll
go to sleep. My throat really needs it, and we'll be fine. Okay, well, yeah, talk to you tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and yeah, I think that's it. All right.